third one.
No worries.
Oh,
I'll
it's
get my
all.
book in the shop there.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Okay. We're up
Oh, yeah.
in. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Santita Jackson Show, AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. It is a joy to be with you today. As we're talking about matters of great import, we've been looking at the election here on the Santita Jackson Show, on the Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel, and the Santita Jackson and Friends Facebook page, and on X at Santita J. And I'm on Blue Sky at Santita Jackson. Oh, yeah. Well, we've been looking at the election, and there's a lot to talk about. And as there has been a lot of upset about President Trump's picks. Some of them have been interesting. You've got to admit that. Robert Kennedy Jr., someone from a storied family, storied history, someone who really has seen the underbelly of power in our government, up close and personal, and lost his uncle. Sat with his father while his father called the CIA and said, "Did you do this?" Called the FBI, "Did you do it?" Very few of us, a handful of us in this world, have had that experience. Handful. So, whatever you feel about him, consider that. Consider that when you think of him. Tulsi Gabbard, who has known the horrors of war, has said, "No, I don't want that to happen to anyone else." You might not agree with everything she's done, and I don't, but there's some things I agree with her on. But we're in a time. Cash Patel has a very fascinating background. All I'm asking you to do is to look at things critically, because that is where we are. We're at an inflection point, I think, in our republic, in the society, and in the world today. People are asking questions about everything. We're not trusting the official narratives anymore. And now it's wearing out that old CIA phrase, a conspiracy theory, because everybody is one. Everybody's a conspiracy theorist because no one believes the official narrative. And I have to say, I asked my mother some years ago, what was the most awful thing that's happened in your lifetime? And without missing a beat, she said the John F. Kennedy assassination. This is someone who knew and worked for Dr. King and who loved him with all of her heart. I said, "Really?" She said, "Oh." She said, "Everything came apart." When
That's
that happened, everything came apart. Even Dr. King said, my father knew him then. He was in college because he was a student leader nationally in college. And Dr. King said when they killed John F. Kennedy, he said, "I won't make it through the decade."
wow.
And he didn't. But my mother said on that day, everything changed and nothing has been the same and nothing's been right. In fact, 80% of Americans up to that point trusted the government. Immediately following his assassination, 80% of Americans questioned the government and didn't trust them. Everything flipped from "I like Ike" to "Are you serious?" Happened in an instant. So I wanted to speak with this woman today. I've had her on Reverend Show and Reverend Jackson Show, and he was so just over the moon. When I mean, I had the honor of having you and David Talbot. I couldn't believe it, on the same show. What? So I mean, but probably, and this is not hyperbole on my part. I mean, I've watched this, and I've watched assassinations because we've been the focus of so many of them. And I don't have a morbid fascination with them. My mother told me the first time I saw someone point a what I thought was a loaded gun at my father, I was about 5 or so. And my mother said, and I came home and I was very tearful and very, very upset. My father literally kept me close to him because he knew I was frightened. And my mother said, "No, no." And she took me aside and she said, "I don't need tears, baby. I need a witness. So if this ever happens again, don't cry. Look around." Because I was the same age that Malcolm X's children were. when they watched their father get killed. So I've looked at these assassinations and I've wanted to know why and why it's so important. I mean, why is it that President Trump said, no, I want to release these JFK files? Because behind that would be the RFK files. And then that would be the MLK, maybe Malcolm X. Malcolm X's daughters are suing the government right now. They said,
Good
I
for
want
them.
to know what happened to my father and what role you had in it, because too much was suspicious. So I had to go to Lisa Peace, probably the foremost researcher of the RFK assassination. And it matters today. It matters today. And I want to know what you think about it. Why? Why does it matter? Well, I think it matters for a whole lot of reasons. And we need to talk about this. You've got to get this book, A Lie Too Big to Fail. When I got it, I bought several copies. I gave them to family members and some friends. I bought about 10 because I had a lot of questions. I remember as a preschooler seeing the Robert Kennedy signs in people's windows because I lived in the University of Chicago. That's where my father was in graduate school. And so in that community, that's University of Chicago.
Yes.
And I just I just know that my mother said I said, how did you get through 1968? She said, I don't know. She said, because you had
Mm.
president say on, what is it, on Sunday, I will not seek, nor will I accept the nomination. She said, and then Thursday, Dr. King was killed. And then 6 weeks later, they killed Robert Kennedy. She said, hey, after that, you were just like, whew. And this murder matters today more than ever before. And so I wanted to bring you on because as we're asking so many questions, as President Trump has put someone forward, as he's put in Kash Patel's nomination, and he's got a fascinating background. He's a former public defender. He's someone who said, we got to clean up the corruption here. The FBI came after Trump, and he's mad about it.
Mm.
And the government came after Jared Kushner's dad and came after his dad's sister and brother-in-law. Chris Christie sent, in his capacity as a law enforcement official, the top one in the state of New Jersey, he sent video of the brother-in-law engaged in a sexual relationship with someone other than his wife, but he sent it to the family
Oh boy.
during a family dinner, everybody.
Oh my gosh.
You don't have to like the Trumps. You really don't, but they did that to Coretta King too. So there's just a lot. There are a lot of questions that we all have. And there are a lot of questions, that we have about the Robert Kennedy assassination. And I think it's important for us to ask these questions. I'm going to be speaking with someone about the JFK assassination in another day or so. Because while we're asking these questions, while Malcolm X's daughters have this lawsuit
Mm-hmm.
that they filed, Lisa Peace, against the government. They're like, I want to know who killed my father. You got to let me know. I got to know. You got to release these files.
Only the King children and the Malcolm X children have done that. I've been waiting all these years for the Kennedy family to say or do anything. Now, there was a family friend who told me years ago that basically the family had been threatened, and Teddy came to the family supposedly. And again,
Mm-hmm.
this is hearsay and maybe there's no
Mm-hmm.
truth to it. But at that time, I was told that Ted Kennedy went to the family and said, we're not going to talk about this
I
case
believe
again.
that.
And
But
if that's true, then that's interesting that of all of them, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was the only one who did come forward and speak about it,
well, they've asked
because he
him,
has, and he's been pretty open about it.
and they've asked
And
him, are you not afraid that these people will come after you? He said, and he's been through so much in his life.
mhm.
He said, "You know, death is not the worst thing that can happen to you. My religion tells me there's something else beyond here. So the worst thing that can happen to you is when if you become enslaved and you're you're enslaved by your fears."
Correct.
So
Correct.
and I have to tell you, just on that alone, he made me cry, and I have so much respect for him. And anybody can get upset with me if you want to. That's how I feel. When I met him this summer, I said, "You know, we owe you so much." He said, "No, we owe your family." And we went through this back and forth. I know we owe you. I know. I said, "No, I just want you to know I'm praying for you." Because had it been my father, I would be doing what he would be doing, and I wouldn't care what happened.
Yes. Yes.
I wouldn't care. I'd be like, "Look,
Yes.
I'm gonna see my dad again. Oh, I'm out, okay." But you all are gonna answer for this. What is it? Number one, why? Because I want you to have the runway. Because that this touch, as you can see, this is very close to my heart for a whole lot of reasons. For the King children, for Medgar Evers' children, for Ralph Evers'
Yes.
children, um, and so many of the people on my side of the street, their eldest children died very young.
Hmm.
Medgar Evers' son didn't make it to 50.
Ah,
Ralph Abernathy barely made it past 50. Yolanda King died. She had just come into her 50s. We die young because we take some hits. And I was talking to someone. I was talking to Rena Evers about it, Medgar Evers' daughter. I said, "Haven't you noticed that we don't the eldest ones we don't stay around long." And I almost died when I was 41. I was very sick.
wow. Wow.
But I was tired too, and I get it. That's why
Hmm.
I wanted to bring you here tonight. And I thank you because I know you've had your own struggles.
Yeah.
And I thank you. I'm so honored that you would join us tonight. What is it? Why why have you why have you given so much of yourself and your time to this endeavor? The Robert Kennedy assassination. Why is it important?
Yes. Well, I feel all the assassinations of the 1960s completely derailed the direction the country could have gone in and was starting to go in under John F. Kennedy, one where instead of trying to dominate the world, he wanted to form circles of cooperation with
Mhm.
leaders around the world. He didn't want to say you're either with us or you're against us, as George W. Bush famously said. He's like, look, I understand the non aligned movement. I understand you don't want to be a communist state, but you don't want to be a client state of the United States. And
Mhm.
I support your independence. Both JFK and RFK and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, they all got it. They understood that this world's only going to work if we allow every nation true self-determination. And they were the only ones. And by
But
killing them
and they
all,
all came out of the Second World War. I mean, their parents.
yes, and
What what
The Cold War, and especially the Vietnam War, because I think, World War II was billed as the war to end all wars, right? That was what we were told at the time, or, what people were told at the time. I wasn't alive then.
Mhm.
But, so when the Vietnam War and the wars in the, Korea and stuff started happening, I think it made the good people very nervous, like, "Oh, we're on a sliding slope here and we better stop." And it made the bad people very greedy because it's like, "Wow, hey, that worked. Let's try another one." We were able to overthrow a democratically elected government in Iran. Let's try another one. They went for Guatemala. They went for Brazil. They went for Indonesia. And, they weren't all successes, some were failures, but and I would argue all of the coups that the CIA has been involved in over the years have ultimately been failures because in every case it left the world overall worse than it would have been otherwise. I fully believe we need a multipolar world where there isn't just one or two superpowers, but where every nation has a form of superpoweredness to it. Anyway, the Kennedys really understood that. And by killing them and Malcolm and Medgar and all these people, they basically silenced an entire layer of the left. And it's not that Robert Kennedy and John Kennedy were that far on the left either. I mean, at that time, they were fairly centrist in a lot of their positions.
Mm-hmm.
But being anti-war has always been framed as putting you on the left. And of course, John Kennedy was anti-war because he'd actually fought in one and almost lost his life in one and saw many of his buddies lose his life in one. And there's a wonderful book by a woman, Monica Wiesack, called JFK, the Last American President, What the World Lost When We Lost JFK. And I would argue that's true. He was the last one to really try and run the government himself. In fact, that pissed off Allen Dulles, the head of the CIA at the time. And he told friends, that little Kennedy, he thought he was a god. And that was the mindset. Like, if you try to be a good president, there are so many forces arrayed against you. Is that my microphone or something is making noises?
It is, but so
yeah. Anyway,
oh, okay.
So weird. Is it only when I speak?
It just
yeah. Anyway, so by the time Robert Kennedy was killed, several others had been killed, and his was kind of the final death blow to the anti-war leaders who had the potential, the power, the intelligence, the background, and the money to really make a difference in this country. And so his loss was perhaps the greatest, Robert Kennedy's, simply because it was the last. It was like the last hope. And as one reporter whose name escapes me, and it shouldn't because I opened my book with him, but he had a beautiful quote where it was as if the roll was at the bottom of the hill and there was no one, there was no one else to help push it back up again. And so the country lost a lot of hope when that happened. Super unfortunate. So it matters on that scale. Now it matters on a completely other scale because the truth has not been told about any of these cases. And nowhere is it more completely covered up than in the RFK assassination. The media, the CIA, the government was completely successful in shutting down all evidence of conspiracy and making it really hard for people to find the truth. In fact, in my book, I talk about after the trial, the police and the prosecutors and the defense attorneys all got together and sat in different judges' chambers. It's like, how can we keep this evidence from reaching the public? And they're like, well, maybe we can just make copies of the bullets. And I thought, well, that's interesting. What is it about the real bullets you don't want people to see? And maybe we can charge a lot per copy, so it's just too expensive for people to look into this. They knew they had lied. They knew they were getting the wrong guy. They all knew, they were all in on it, including Sirhan's defense team. They all knew it was a conspiracy, and they all, for various reasons, decided to cover it up.
Including his defense team, Sirhan.
Especially including his defense. Now, here's the thing. Grant Cooper was his lead attorney. And Grant Cooper, right before he represented Sirhan, had been representing an associate of the mobster Johnny Roselli, one of the guys the CIA was working with to try and kill Castro. So a very CIA-connected mob guy. And you don't give people in cases like those access to people with CIA secrets unless the lawyers themselves are CIA friendly at the very least, and we could say CIA compromised or CIA agents. I mean, it goes the whole gamut. And I don't know what Grant Cooper was, but he was definitely compromised to that trial because someone illegally stole a grand jury transcript and put it on Cooper's desk in such a way that the judge couldn't help but see it when he walked into the room. The whole point of having grand juries is all the testimony is secret, so people feel free to speak openly and their identities aren't threatened because their names aren't made public. And yet here it was on Grant Cooper's desk. And Grant Cooper said, I got it from no source other than the government, which I thought was really interesting. And it does seem that the CIA stole it to help Roselli's case. But then it served a second purpose because it set Cooper up for what could have been jail time, disbarment, huge fines, uh, you know, any number of things could have happened to him. And he had been a former like head of the bar association in the area. I mean, he was a big guy. So all of these were horrifying to him. That is so weird. Sorry. It's
No,
just
it
I've
is.
never had that happen before. Anyway, so Cooper was compromised at the time that he got into defending Sirhan. He was completely compromised, and sorry, it's so distracting. I hear
No,
this. It
it
sounds
is.
like somebody's
And
chewing in
I
my
was
ear.
just talking to Colleen Rowley in the last hour. The FBI
When did that
whistleblower,
happen?
same thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think somebody's trying to sabotage you, Santita, which wouldn't be the
That's
first time. NSA has their ways.
no, it wouldn't. But I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not their problem.
yeah, no.
Well, all we've ever
Well,
tried
none
to
of us are the
no,
problem.
we're not
Truth
the
tellers
problem.
are not the problem. The problem are the people who get on the line and try and sabotage people telling the truth. That's exactly what's wrong with this country. And I kind of got into it more because it was still being covered up today. It was bad enough that there was a conspiracy and these wonderful people were taken from us too soon. That was horrible in itself. But then when you add the layer that and now it's like 60 years later in the JFK assassination case. How is it possible 61 years later? How is it possible we still can't get the CI files on certain things that we've
But
asked for
why?
60 years later unless
Well,
they did it?
but help me with that because I'm trying to find out what is going on here because I see
You've frozen to me. I don't know if you can hear me.
when Judge
I don't hear a thing right now. Can you hear me? I'm speaking, but I'm not hearing anything. Okay, we'll wait for her to come back. It's funny how the annoying sound went away when I mentioned the NSA. Hoping she's coming back. Okay, I hear you, I think. Uh, hmm. Can you hear me? Can you say something? Picture, no voice. Sounds like cars going by.
okay, I'm back.
Okay, good.
Well, you can't see me, but I'm here. This has been happening to me all day.
Wow.
Okay, but you know what? Let's just keep on talking.
Okay.
Because
So in
indeed,
any case,
Robert
Grant
said that the
Cooper.
producer in him, he said, the crackling is driving you crazy. But you know what? We're gonna keep on going. So
Yes, we will.
peace. Let's keep on going.
And I have an echo now. Should I go out and come back in real quick?
You know what? If you'd like, because I don't hear the echo. But if it's too
Okay, I'll try and
distracting for you,
ignore it.
okay.
Oh, I wish I could hear. Maybe I can. Oh, then I won't hear you. Anyway, so Grant Cooper was Sirhan's lead attorney at the time that he had the punishment hanging over his head from the grand jury transcript in the Ronnie Roselli trial. And in the end, he only got the lightest possible sentence. Now, if you were to give somebody the lightest possible sentence, why would you wait like 4 months to let him know that? I think they were holding the punishment over his head, saying, if you think the Sirhan pays, then we will let you off light. But if Sirhan doesn't get convicted, you're going to jail. Because I don't think people have any understanding of how much blackmail plays a role in our government. I mean, I would hope the Epstein scandal and coverage gives people a sense of that. These aren't just people going and having sex with minors. These are people filming politicians having sex with minors, hold it over their heads so that they can get the policies, the votes they want, the protection of the country that they want. And it's so anyway, it does. Sirhan's defense was compromised from the get-go. I actually read the entire transcript, and that includes sessions with the judge at each day and sometimes in the day, and what we call the chambers discussions, where the judges with the prosecution and make decisions. And I was so shocked because Cooper did a better job prosecuting Sirhan than the prosecutor did. And he sabotaged at every turn. Because there were, extenuating circumstances, as we talked about, and I've been talking about. Sirhan was in front of Kennedy when Kennedy was shot behind. We have like Sirhan here, and Kennedy's here. Let's see for the video. Well, I think it's in reverse. But anyway, they're literally facing each other. But Kennedy is shot from behind. So Sirhan could not have killed Kennedy. There's literally no world. And also they were literally no world. So they were 3 feet apart. According to the only people who saw them both at the time. At the time of the shooting. And so people have tried to say, Sirhan loved Kennedy and that's how they got close. And if we had no witnesses, that's a possibility. But the problem is, we had witnesses. The really good witnesses didn't take their eyes off Kennedy and once Sirhan they saw what happened, and not one of them saw Sirhan get that close. Kennedy was not 4 times from behind, under his arm, and once here. Yet Sirhan was captured after the second shot. So there's literally no way Sirhan could have made the shots. Kennedy never got close enough. All of the shots never got close. 1 to 3 inches away, and the headshot was about an inch away.
Lisa, hold on one moment.
Away to the corner.
Lisa, hold on one moment. We are getting such feedback. People are, my audience are complaining about it, and I want you to be heard.
Yeah.
And you're having audio issues as well. This is insane. I mean, this
it is.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. Should I try and come back in?
Do you know what? Would you mind?
Reboot.
I need to do something at 7:30, which is 5:30 your time, and I'll be done at. Oh my gosh, when will I be done? 7:30. I'll be done at 8:30. Would I be able to come to you at 6:30 your time?
I can't tonight.
Okay.
Something else off. I have to finish before the end of the night.
Could I do it tomorrow?
Tonight. It's hard because that was my first full work back.
Oh, no. You know what? Let me
Let's
Hold on.
let's find another time, though.
No. Hold on. Let me see, because I don't want. I want you to be heard.
Thank
And
you.
oh no. You what? Well, I'm going to continue on here, but what I want to know is, and thank you, Robert, for being so conscientious. I want to work out with you when, over the next few days, I can get you back.
Tuesday or Wednesday are better than Monday.
Okay, then you know what we will do. Uh, uh,
Anytime after my time.
anytime after what time?
Oh, I'm sorry. Anytime after 5 my time works.
Okay, well then you know what we'll do on Tuesday.
Okay.
We will do it on Tuesday.
All right. At 5 on Tuesday?
At 5 your time, which is 7 my time.
Perfect.
And let me just
All
do
right.
that because I want to. Because I don't. Because it's just been too sketchy, and what you're saying is too important.
Thank you. I barely while I'm hearing that.
No. It's driving you crazy, and the audience, they're and my audience, to be fair, and they're hearing us now. They stay with me, and they have a healthy amount of skepticism about things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked about the FBI today. I've talked with you about this today, and I'm going to be talking about JFK in another day or so. And so we're going to talk about this. So Tuesday, let me just write this down.
Yes.
With my
phone here.
So Tuesday, hold on a minute, because Tuesday at, let's say Lisa Peace, at that would be 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.p. And that's what we'll do.
Great. That works for me.
Okay. We'll get that. And I just love you and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, and Robert, thank you. No, but what she is saying is so important. And I want you all to hear this because at this time, and for those who are still listening, and we're going to be talking about people who've been paid to endorse Kamala Harris and just really picking that apart in about 20 minutes. In 20 minutes. What you're saying is so important because we're at an inflection point. Lisa Peace.
Yes.
And the country we can't survive with this hanging over our heads. We can't.
We either get the truth or we just go completely into.
That's where people are.
It used to be what I called dictatorship.
Yeah.
We're on the verge of over dictatorship now.
But look, you had 14 million Democratic voters whose votes were thrown out.
Yeah.
No. I mean, in the name of joy. No.
Yeah.
No. You can't do that. No. Yeah. I mean, and I supported. I was 10 toes down for Kamala. But I said I don't like the way this happened, and
right.
that bothers me. And I'm straight up with you all about that.
And I'm super skeptical of any place where you don't have a paper ballot. Even if you have a paper ballot, if it's not manually counted, the machine can read it and then put out whatever it wants.
You know what I mean? Whatever it wants.
That's what gets recorded.
And those are not Republican talking points, everybody.
No, I'm a lifelong liberal.
Well, the thing is, I'm an independent Democrat. The thing is, what I am is an American who believes in America and the idea and ideals of it. And I'm going to fight for that.
Yes.
I'm going to fight for that. George Washington said 2 parties, that's going to lead to tyranny. I'm with that. I think you need to vote. I want a protected right for everyone to vote. That's what I want. I want us to find out who killed Robert Kennedy, who killed John F. Kennedy, who killed Dr. King, who killed Malcolm X. I want to know. Because the truth matters. You knew. You all sat up there and you knew that Byron Della Beckwith killed Medgar Evers in front of his children, and they did nothing.
Yes.
And his wife. You knew that Carolyn Bryant lied. So the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill kept her confession. The courthouse in Mississippi kept her confession. All of you knew that she lied and got that boy killed. No one wants to talk about what happened to Emmett Till. They didn't just beat him. You know they raped him because it was a crime of sexual. They thought that he committed the ultimate sin, which was to desire a white woman. They absolutely defiled that child. At some point, we need to stop it.
Exactly.
And throw your party out the window. That's what you need to do. I wish a president would stop, would let the party go and just be my president. That's what I need. You can have your inclinations. I'm sick of this. I want the truth. I want this stuff to be right. And thank you very much. So we're going to talk about this. Well, even if we have to do it on the phone.
Whatever it takes.
I want people to hear you, and we're going to do that on Tuesday.
Thank you.
I'm sending you all my love. Yes.
Thank you soon.
I can't wait. It'll be Tuesday, and it's going to be great.
Thank you.
Oh, and I love the hair girl. Oh my!
No promise for Tuesday.
It's fabulous. It looks fabulous.
I had time today.
No, you look fabulous.
Oh, thanks.
Sending you so much love. Thank you so much.
Alrighty. Love you too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.